Okay, well, welcome everyone to the May 21st meeting of the Northborough Historic District Commission. My name is Bob Light, Chair. First, some meeting announcements. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and signed into law on March 28th, 2025, this meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. The order allows the Historic District Commission to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. All members of the Historic District Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. This meeting will not feature public comment. Each vote taken this evening will be conducted by roll call vote. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Leslie Harrison. Leslie, you're mute.
Yes, I know, sorry.
Okay.
Here.
Brian Swanson.
Here.
Amanda Millette.
Here.
Millie Milton is not here yet. Tom Reardon.
Here.
Brian Smith.
Here.
Lorna Van Horn is not here. And Rudiger Vogt is not here. And I'm Bob Light, I'm here. Okay. So we have first on the agenda is our invited guest to discuss the Watson Park Pollinator Garden, and I think we're gonna have to wait on that until they arrive.
Oh, no, I see Gary's here.
Oh, he is.
I was just about to
Okay.
send an email, but I see.
Oh, and
Yep.
oh, Lorna's here. Lorna, you're on mute.
Hi.
Okay, there's Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hi.
I will not send the email, but just about to send an email.
Okay, great. And Jean Carroll Cahill, is she coming? Gary?
Oh, she was invited. I'm not sure if she's coming.
Okay, all right. Do you want to go ahead with and start?
Yeah, sure. I actually don't have any presentation, but I'm happy to speak about what I did on Lyman Street, just to
Sure.
get an idea of what to do, what we could do on the new park, the cemetery park.
Okay, well, we're just as some background is Leslie got me in touch with Gary to discuss the Watson Park Pollinator Garden, and maybe just throw some ideas out for what we might want to do with the Brigham Street Burial Ground. So maybe spend a few
Alright.
minutes discussing that, Gary, and then we can move on. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. My specialty, what I've been doing is uh, repurposing areas that are not looking good, either have invasives with mugwort, for example, at Patty Lane. Right now, I've got a volunteer project to remove mugwort and put in native plants right there by the library. I did that at Watson Park. At Lyman Street, there was a neglected garden with non-natives and a lot of invasive plants in there. And I got permission to repurpose that and installed all native plants. I've been studying the native plants for 5 years, and now I understand how they behave, which are the aggressive ones, which are tall, which are short. I know my grasses, my native sedges. So, and I've really been studying what would be appropriate. It's called plant sociability, how they behave together. And so I have a pretty good understanding of which ones are aggressive, which ones would be recommended for a small garden. I lead tours at the Watson Park. If you've not been there, it's it's a really special thing. In fact, last year it won the Community Greening Award from the New England Botanical Garden, um, which is really
That's incredible.
put. It's the first time any project in Northborough has won that award. And then I expanded
Congratulations.
I expanded that garden to a meadow the following year. This is year 4 for the garden, year 3 for the meadow. I used a rototiller to remove some of the field. That's if you imagine a baseball diamond, the infield is the pollination garden, and I expanded that to the outfield. It's that shape, that curved shape, and that's the meadow. Um, and these are all low maintenance gardens. And in fact, the long-term plan for that pollination garden that I started with would be let it become a meadow, because when this if you don't maintain and you let the seeds drop, they will all mix together and soon it will look just like the meadow. But when I put in meadows, it's all the same plants that are in the pollination garden, but not the tall ones, because the the base grass for the meadow is little bluestem, which is about 3 feet tall. So the plants that I put in that meadow, I want about that same height. I don't want anything tall and floppy that looks out of place. So everything is around 3 feet or shorter um, in the
Gary,
meadow.
do you have photos by any chance that you could show us?
Uh, yeah, yeah. If you want me to
Would
share
that
my
be okay? Do you
screen,
think that'd be helpful,
Yes.
folks?
By the way, Gary, while you're
Okay.
doing that, where in Watson Park is this? I'm familiar with Watson Park. There's that circular drive that goes in by the boat entrance. Is that where it is?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
right at the front. If you've ever noticed the great big rock that says Watson Park,
Yes, that's right on Lyman Street, right?
yeah, that's where the garden is. You'll recognize
Okay. Okay, so it's
it.
right in the front before you
Hmm.
get to the circular drive.
Mhm. I might have to change to a different library. Hang on a second.
For those of us without a green thumb, could you describe what a pollinator garden is?
Yeah, a pollinator garden is uh, a garden with flowers that produce pollen and nectar. And but what makes this special is they're all native plants,
Mhm.
because we can have non-native plants that make pollen and nectar. So all these are native plants. Uh, so the pollen is what the baby bees eat. That's what they feed their baby bees. And the nectar is sugar. That's what gives them energy to fly around. So it's important to feed the bees and butterflies pollen um, and nectar from spring till fall.
Hmm.
So with good planning, you have things in bloom in the spring, in the summer, and the fall. And that's the target for a pollination garden. And the meadow, uh, same thing. We try to feed them all through. Nah. Okay, so you recognize
Oh,
this.
yeah, okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hmm. Nicely done.
These are
Yeah.
pretty tall
Right.
ones here. This is the meadow, and after what month is this? This would be
Jean's on her way.
April, or this is August. But it's a demonstration garden because I want people to look at this and visualize, oh, I could do that in my backyard. Um, because it looks nice and neat. I maintain it like it's a garden, but it really is a meadow. So you can imagine if this should be a small space, a big space. And I'm happy with how it is because I can maintain it all by myself without help. I didn't want it too big where I wouldn't be able to keep up.
What type of maintenance does that actually require?
Well, to get started, I hand weeded what didn't belong. So, uh, and I did that to get the seed bank out because the seed bank was for years a field, so there are grasses there, and the seed will germinate, and then when that's removed, that seed is no longer there. So, as long as you keep up with the weeding
Hmm.
of the seed bank out, and then what every year when the plants then bloom and drop their seed, what turns over is going to be the good seeds that you
Yeah.
want, not the old ones. I love this picture. You might have heard that that bees live inside the stems, and here's an example of a bee drilling in, I forget which stem it was, but you can see that looks like sawdust.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
That was the bee making a home inside, I think, this stem.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's
That's
really
really
beautiful.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This plant right here, wild lupin, just
Yeah.
last year became a state listed plant, rare plant. It's protected now. It's on the way to extinction.
Hmm.
It's
So Gary, for us, because we'd be starting with basically a grassy area, would it be an easier task? Because what's there now is just grass,
Yeah,
regular.
yeah. If you wanted to do something there, what I would recommend is I remove the turf with a rototiller. I'm able to do that myself, but I'm in very good shape and I have a rototiller. I would recommend to get a backhoe, a bulldozer, some kind of heavy equipment, and just push that turf out. You're pushing the top 3 inches out of the way, exposing the dirt below. That would be the quickest, easiest way to get started.
Gary, if this was a former forest, wouldn't it be more appropriate to do a wild planting that is true to its native root, meaning forested area, rather than trying to convert it into a meadow and you'd be continuously fighting new tree growth?
Hey, what you just said made me think of something. Have you heard of I call it Milwaukee forest, but Milwaukee forest? Have you heard of that?
Oh,
It's this, it sounds like Milwaukee forest, but it's spelled a little bit different than that. It's this new thing that it's everyone's doing with these native areas there. It has tall stuff, medium stuff, and then undergrowth, and it works together. So you have tall stuff for the shade, middle stuff which does whatever, and then stuff that likes to be down below. It's a ecosystem that maintains itself. And Worcester's got two, one right behind their library, and one next to the highway. They're popping up all over the place. And so that would be the forest idea, but it's also a real trendy thing that communities are doing. Or Shrewsbury wants to do one. I talked to someone the other day about that one.
picking it up now. Miyake, yeah, Miywaki. Miyawaki.
Is that
Forest.
sounds Japanese?
Yeah. One in Cambridge.
just for
Gary, you
clarification. I have two questions or two demands. One for clarification: the lupines, are these the plants which are in extinction? Gary, is this did I understood you right? because this is a nitro fixator, so a natural fertilizer, basically. So that's one thing. The other thing is also, sorry for coming late. Did you or do you want to tell us your interaction with Mr. Scott, the what is this, Public Works Department, that we get a picture of what you are entailing there, or facing there, in your marvelous attempt to greenery, natural greenery of Northborough.
Yeah,
Gary?
the rabbits like that lupin, which is why it's hard to keep around. What did you want me to do about Scott? Talk about Scott?
Well, your interaction with Scott, so with the Department of Public Works. You told me something, but I don't want to. Maybe I misunderstand this, but I didn't want to tell this here. Maybe you better tell this the commission, or you don't want to tell it, or whatever.
Gary,
so I leave it
can
up to
you hear
you.
me? Gary?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My picture is frozen, so I was unsure if you could hear me or not.
Oh, hi, Jane.
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry to be
Hi,
late. And just to the point of the Miyawaki Forest, I was part of the group who helped plant at Plumley Village, right against the highway in Worcester. And I've gone back and looked at that project. It's just a very different approach from what Gary's been doing, and I think there's certainly some discernment of what approach would work best in any given location, but a lot of that what needs to be considered with any spot that's going to be allowed to kind of revert, if you will, or get taken over by plants that might have grown there in the past, is that these areas where you have margins along properties, we have a really rampant problem with invasive plants here. And I've been part of a team, as has Gary and others, where we have gone into clean up the Edmund Hill Woods because that's been so overtaken with pestilential plants. And we're at that risk of anywhere you plant anything, you really have to have a management plan, and it has to be really well suited to the site. So I think, the meadow idea, the Miyawaki Forest, whatever we do has to take into account the way that it will be either managed actively or, allowed to become more naturalized.
Gary, do you have any signs up at Watson Park identifying the plants?
Yes, I do. I let me share my screen again. You can see the example I paint them actually.
Yeah, I saw the lupine.
So that it was that rock.
Right
That's
there.
what I want to know. So that,
Yeah.
okay, so that is, I thought that might have been a photoshopped identification. So that's actually there. Okay, very good.
AI.
So we
Yep.
would need, so we would have to have some sort of a demarcation around the garden, possibly rocks. And we can identify some of the plants if we were to do this at Brigham Street. By the way,
Yeah.
on Brigham Street, besides the grass, there is the area of a cleared area, which is not non-grass, back at the border of the property is another option for it. It would put it further away from the road, though.
Go back by the woods, you mean, Bob?
Right, but before the woods, in that cleared area, there are a few trees back there still.
I forget is how much sun is there in that main part where because trees were removed, right? Is it full sun?
Right, it looks like it's full sun. There's very few trees left.
It does face south. In the northern edge is wooded.
Right, yeah, the northern edge has trees.
But if a pollination garden goes in or a meadow, I know plants that would behave well together without spreading through the neighborhood. Like this one here, for example, is a good one.
And would this be the type of thing that would be done by volunteer work with maybe purchasing of plants?
Actually, what I do is I do winter sow workshops at the library. I collect all these seeds and I clean them, package them, and then I do workshops at the library in December and give out kits. So I give out the free seeds, milk jugs, and potting soil free, as many as they want. And with a string attached, though, I tell so each envelope splits half into one milk jug and the other half into another milk jug. And I tell them grow both. You keep one and plant that in your garden and donate one back to the project. So that's how I was able to install this whole garden, this whole meadow, the whole everything we're doing this year for town beautification at the library, Rich Dale's, mobile gas station, CVS, this place right here by my house, which is near Moe's in the high school. These are all jug donations. All these gardens were put in without buying a single plant.
Amazing.
And I've taught everyone who's had their hands in it, I've taught them how to do it. And I asked each of them, this is a pay it forward project. I'm teaching you how to do it. I want you to teach other people how to do it.
I wonder if it'd even be good as an Eagle Scout project to somehow get an Eagle Scout involved, or we've talked about that even with the pathways or something. Or you mentioned the garden club, Gary. You remember the garden club, you said, right?
Yes.
Or Rotary, Rotary is always looking for projects involved in the community. I'm sure we could get some Rotarians in there helping, right, Gene? So yeah, I could see it as being a really cool collaborative effort. My concern would be the maintenance of it. It's one thing to get enthusiasm to get it started, but then the maintenance is the tricky part. And we definitely would need to make it as easy for DPW to maintain their part, which I think would be mowing the grass around it, would be my guess, because they already maintain the cemetery, right? They already mow the grass. So I think as long as this were an area that would be defined where they could easily mow around it.
The meadow, this picture here is probably easier to maintain, and it's so nice to look at. Look at all those flowers. I would recommend either something like this, which is lower maintenance than the pollination garden.
So can you
Or
help
that-
what's the difference between a meadow and a pollination garden? Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, the meadow, so a pollination garden, things are in it's called massing, where this is probably 5 different plants all together. And then here's this other patch here, it's all together. This is the lupin, it's all together, and it's in one place. And now, and then here's so that's a species, that's a species, that's a species. So they're together. So it's very formal. So this is hard to maintain because when it self-seeds, this plant's going to jump over here, this one's going to jump over there, and you have to weed that out. And with this meadow, I'm always weeding stuff from, I'm sorry, the wood chips. I'm always having to weed things from the wood chips. And the hard part is I don't have the discipline to just weed out because these are good plants. So then who can come and dig this? Someone's gonna want this. And if I was disciplined, I would just weed it and be done. But it just takes a long time, so I don't have that discipline. But to keep things
Now, the flip side is
together.
you're very disciplined.
Yeah.
So to keep it orderly like this in a patch, like a pollination garden, it
Okay.
takes a lot of maintenance to weed out where it doesn't belong. And now let's look at the meadow. It doesn't
Right.
matter. Where's that one picture that I was? This one. It doesn't matter if it seeds and spreads because you want it to.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's fewer plants. The meadow, if you want to go on a tour, I'll explain this better. But the meadow is 11 sections. And each section has the same plants. So do you see the red here, and then the red here, and the red back there?
Yeah.
That red's gonna show up 11 times in different places, but it's not a cookie cutter. So I mixed it up. So I know it's all the same plants in that section, but it's mixed up random, and it's not in one big patch. It's small patches here and there. And the reason we do massing like that is because when that flower's in bloom and the pollinator is visiting that, we want it to just hop from one flower to the other because that's what's in bloom that week. But if it's all scattered, it's got to fly 30 feet that way to find it, 30 feet the other way to get the nectar, and it's wasting energy. So that's why we do massing. But for the meadow, it's there's smaller sections, but it doesn't matter if the plants mix. So there's no maintenance as long as because they're going to end up being all mixed up.
But from a benefit to the bees standpoint, that's why the pollinator garden is better because it's less, you say it's more efficient for them to gather their pollen and nectar. Okay.
Yeah,
Do they still,
yeah.
I mean, I assume they still benefit from a meadow? I mean, is it?
Oh yeah, and these are all the same plants that are in the pollination garden, but without the tall ones. One of these pictures I had, it showed a whole bunch of tall ones, and I didn't want anything tall. Some of these are 6, 8 feet tall. I didn't want that in the meadow because I didn't want it to shade out the neighbor. I want it all to have even playing field with the sun, and I didn't want anything flopping over on another plant because I think that looks messy.
Gary, if we were to do something in Brigham Street, what would be a typical size area that you would recommend? I'm thinking of a relatively small
Yeah.
size for this, but I don't know what the minimum size would be.
Yeah, hey, let's look at the top view of Watson Park, and I'll show you how big this one is. Where are we at? Chauncey. Bartlett.
That's Bartlett right there.
Okay, so this is the field, this is the boat dock, and you can see how big that is. One
Oh, okay.
person with a truck and a lot of energy can maintain that.
Okay.
That's me.
So that's a pollinator garden and a meadow.
Yeah, the meadow is, so if you think of a baseball, see it's the shape of a baseball diamond.
Yep.
This part here is the infield. That's the pollination garden, the tall stuff. In this outfield, it's all the short stuff, the meadow.
And you have
So-
paths going through those? Is that
Yeah,
what those are?
I get burlap sacks from Arrow Coffee,
Mm.
and every week because they're roasters and they get the beans come in burlap and they donate them to me, and I use that for the paths through the meadow. In the pollination garden, it's wood chips. But that's a really nice shape, a really nice size because people can enjoy it. It's not too big.
Do you have a rough idea of the number of how many feet it is from one side to the other?
Yeah, I'm not good with numbers, but I think this is 100 feet from here to
100 feet.
here.
Okay, right.
So
good.
going around this way would be maybe 300 feet if you walked it.
Mhm.
200 feet.
Can you just zoom out a little bit more to get a sense of that perspective? I'm just curious. Appreciate it. Okay. It's not small, that's for sure.
Yeah, quarter of an acre.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to be anything bigger than that unless you get a team to maintain something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It really is. That's very cool. So what does it look
Super.
like in the winter? I mean, I keep picturing this in summer and in bloom, and then I'm thinking in winter, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's really great because little blue stem grass, they say it has winter interest, meaning most fields they'll flop over. The grass will flop over, but
Mhm.
little blue stem stays upright all winter long. This they call it winter interest. It looks interesting all winter long. Something to
Nice.
look at. And I do have pictures of it in the winter. Let's see. It's not the meadow, but um, that's kind of like what it looks like in the winter.
Yeah.
I used to have a water toad on here, but somebody stole it. You can see these truck tracks. They backed right up and stole my
Okay.
water container.
Oh, wow.
Like, what was the water container?
There's no water there, so I had to take water there from one tote and transfer it over to this one. I had it up on pallets to get some head for some
Hmm.
pressure.
Like a
And yeah,
large water pressure
Oh,
washer
Daryl.
thing?
Yeah.
yeah, but you
Oh
only
my
have to do
God.
that the first year till it's established. After that, they're natives and they can survive a drought because they're natives. You don't have to water them.
Yep, okay. That's so irritating.
Well, thank you, Gary and Jean. If you don't mind, I think we need to move on. We have a lot to a lot to go over today, but we're obviously going to have to get back to you with some more questions at some point.
This is great, though. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
gave us
this was really interesting.
Well,
So,
thanks for inviting me.
any
Thanks so
further
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for
any
your
last minute
enthusiasm.
questions from anyone or further discussion?
Does he want to join the committee as a historical landscape architect?
Well, we could use an alternate.
Sure could.
Well, thanks very much. This will
And
give
he
us a
didn't
lot
say
more.
no, so
Didn't. I noticed that.
I can tell he's got a lot of spare time. I mean, you can really tell
Yeah,
from the
right.
stuff he's doing that he's just bored and looking for
Oh.
something else to do.
Maybe we should help volunteer for him and maybe soften it up a little bit.
Thanks so much, Gary and Jean.
All
All
right. Good
Thank
night.
you, Jean.
Yeah.
Gary.
Good night.
Thank-
right, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so the next on the agenda is we're going to be discussing Brigham Street a little bit more next, but first thing is to approve minutes from the last meeting. That would have been March. Got the name.
April 16th, I think.
March 16th, right? So I sent that to everyone. We made a few corrections. You should all have the final version. Any changes to that? Also, for the record, we just Lorna is here and Rudiger and Millie joined us. So,
Yes.
okay. Say aye, everyone.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Good, we're all here. Okay, so let's vote on the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of, was it April?
Mark,
April 16th.
April 16th. Second. Thank you. Okay, Brian Smith,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Amanda,
I wasn't here, so I'll abstain.
okay, Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Tom Reardon,
I abstain. I was absent as well.
okay, Millie,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So minutes are approved. Thank you. Okay, the old business, Brigham Street Burial Ground completion. So we we just have food for thought about the pollination garden. That's an option. I'm thinking though, where do we stand with the posts? I think we were still waiting for a quote. There was going to be several quotes from if I look at the last minutes of the meeting, there was something like 8 or so posts that were proposed for the demarcation line. Did I get that right?
I thought it was more, even more, but I'd have to
Yeah.
go back and look.
But where do we stand with that? I think we still need to, a couple questions were who's going to install the,
Right, that was a biggie, was, Scott was making it sound like we were gonna do it ourselves, and I don't understand that. They
no,
do
I don't
other
either.
projects. I don't understand why we would be doing this ourselves.
Because we didn't install the other posts.
Right.
I thought you were going to postpone a decision about whether to use posts or not until you had a overarching concept for the design of the cemetery. You don't want to undo stuff if you come up with a different idea of how to configure it. Scott was saying you have the money, you don't have to spend it.
We don't have to spend it right away, no. I think there's $7,000 left.
So I thought you could roll that over until this committee or Scott Charpentier decide on what the future configuration of this cemetery was going to look like.
I'm not sure what you mean by,
Well, if you're going to add pollinator gardens or meadows or forestry components, pathways, I mean, you don't have a overall concept or design for the cemetery. I don't think it's wise to implement markers that may need to be rearranged or moved or reconfigured.
I
Well,
think the
there's-
point of the markers was to separate, provide a solid separation between the burial and the other side. And you're
Right.
right, we shouldn't do anything on the other side until we have a full plan. But I
well,
think
we weren't planning to do anything on the
On the
east
left.
side.
All right.
And that's about half of the land. So that would be where any further activity would go on. But the reason for the posts would be to separate the left side of the burial ground where the graves are. And then the right side could be done at any time. We could put in a garden or walkways but we want to make, but what I think we know enough now to put the barriers up down the middle. I don't know if we want to show that side again. Because
I
all
agree. I think we're okay
all the
with it.
graves, we know where they are. We know where they're not. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So if we did put some posts, the only question is how many posts and what size post. But that would be a straight line, which would be a demarcation between where the graves are and where they're not. And then anything we do later, such as a garden, would be off to the right. So I don't think there's anything stopping us from putting the posts up now. But I guess we need more information. So maybe we should table that. Let me talk to Scott again about the suggestion for the post and make sure that it can get done with the remaining remaining funds. We could always again ask for more CPC funds to go over that, or if there's we have some money in our budget to be able to cover extra costs if needed.
Now, I apologize, I've forgotten. With the shorter posts, the smaller posts, there would not be chain, or there would still be chain?
No chain.
No chain. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a series of posts in a straight line, so that we and a small brass marker that
Right.
mentions the graves. So that was our original plan. I'll talk to Scott again. Anything we do with the Brigham Street has to go through Scott anyway. That would include a pollinator garden.
Yeah, if you're going to talk to him anyway, he was going to get back to us about it having to be ADA compliant. He was nixing the garden idea or, labyrinth or any kind of, that kind of idea saying that it had to be ADA compliant, but I don't understand that because we have trails and,
I mean, it's it's open land.
right.
People
So he said he was
walk.
gonna check, when I kind of pushed back on that, he said he was gonna check with Bob Frederico, and I'm not sure if he did.
Okay, I'll mention that to him as well.
Thanks. Yeah,
Well, the Architectural Access Board in Massachusetts doesn't require you to alter the grades of natural contours to make it accessible. Now, ADA is a civil federal guideline, which is a different set of rules that is not enforced by the building department. So and they don't always agree with each other. So you
Yeah.
probably need to look at both.
Yeah, I was surprised. I remember when we first talked about putting a bench in there in the middle.
right.
Then you had to have a pathway to get to the bench.
Right.
Even though it was a decorative bench that we didn't expect anyone to sit on. It was.
If we had a nice meadow or garden, people may go and sit there. And it
Okay.
might bring, if we do, the build it and they'll come, we might get more traffic to the cemetery and appreciation of the cemetery. If this is kind of promoted, whatever we end up doing, if it gets promoted and there is kind of a place to hang out or enjoy, that it will bring more attention to the cemetery as well.
Okay.
If you
Well,
have a chain restricting access, that you're telling people that it's not public access. So if you start adding features that you want people to visit, you'd have to remove the chain and put a path in.
Interesting, yeah.
Because right now it's demarcated as not a public access area.
Really, that's really.
You,
Just
if
by
you
virtue
have
of
some
being-
kind of accessibility issue, you're not climbing over a chain fence.
Right.
I'm trying to remember the chain fence that's up there right now around the parking lot. That doesn't extend all the way down to the end of the property, does it? On the right? So
But
you
that-
could you
You
could
have
still
to
walk
put your
into the-
parking where your access point is.
Right.
Yeah, it always
And
seems
you-
strange to me that you can't get in. And I asked Scott, and that's when he said, "Oh, you'd lift it, you lift the chain off." And then Bob, we had a hard time finding the one he was talking about. It's
Right.
farther down.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're gonna have to move on. I will talk to Scott, try to get some clarity for the next meeting. But yes, Rudy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to address it. I know that we are voted on it, or you voted on it, but anyway, I visit the Townsend Historical Society and saw that they had posts what we plan to do, but the old ones. So, and I mentioned it before, just for this commission maybe to rethink the decision to use new ones. I think as a historical commission, we should save and implement old ones. So that's so if somebody wants to see or has some time in Townsend, the Historical Society, they have only old posts. And I mentioned before, there is a company in Northborough on Worcester who sells old posts much cheaper as the new ones, by the way. Okay, so that's if the chairman wants to revitalize it, this request.
Oh, we didn't select a final design. That was going to come from Scott, and he had some other options. So if you were in the area and were able to take a picture of that, maybe you could do that.
I have. Okay, I will send it to you. Yeah, I made pictures. Okay.
Good,
Great.
thanks. Okay, let's move on to Leslie, you want to mention anything about the Warp Cemetery sign?
That's funny.
Still warped.
Still warped, okay.
Still warped and still unresponsive. We get occasionally, every few months we get, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I'm on it." And then I get ghosted again, so.
Okay. Well, try to have this meeting less than 20 hours. So let's go on to committee representation. CPC first, which I don't know if there's anything. I guess you had a successful town meeting.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, we're pretty much done until the fall.
Okay. And Millie, master plan implementation, it was
Not so
not
successful.
a good meeting, right?
No, no, it really wasn't. It was definitely a disappointment. But that's where we're at. The Blake Street project did not go through, was not funded. There are other things bits and pieces of that we are working on. I just had a conversation with Lori Connors that I hope we're going to be able to do some other smaller pieces of it through the funding that's available.
We had also talked about the possibility of, if there's a fall town meeting, to maybe be prepared for little things that we could bite off and chew for articles for a fall town meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know there's talk about 4 West Main and possibly putting that up for lease or sale. And the new owner of that might have some input as to what to do with Blake Street.
Probably should as a stakeholder, but yeah, at this point, we had a meeting last week and it wasn't really focused on other alternatives at this point.
I think you should buy it, Millie.
I need another project. Right. Oh,
Okay, anything else, Millie?
not on master plan at this time. Yeah.
For the Northborough Revolution 250, we had our big Minuteman departure event on May 3rd. And also the well-received Witness House display that was on April 19th in the library. And we did quite well at town meeting. CPC approved the Revolutionary War Memorial Monument. And we also received at town meeting the appropriation of $15,000 to carry us through next year and beyond. Turns out that that's a flexible amount, so it doesn't have to be spent within fiscal year 2026. So that's good. And then we're still on. We had received the $9,000 ARPA funds, which is we've got about less than $3,000 left. That covered the expenses of the muskets and the attire that we bought and the various events that we've had so far. So I did want to bring up another subject to make sure that I'm on proper ground here. Keep in mind the Revolution 250 is an independent committee, so it's not an official town committee. So we have members of Cultural Council, Community Affairs, KBOX at TV, but we also have the Historical Society and Garden Club and the American Legion. So it is an independent. So basically, we don't have the same open meeting rules. But for funds that we have been able to acquire from the town, it is assigned to the Historical District Commission. And therefore, we're able to send out invoices and checks from the accounting department, which we wouldn't have been able to do if it was somehow given to the committee, which really isn't an official, no, it's not an official 401c. So for the $9,000 in ARPA funds, that was basically dedicated to the attire and the events that we had planned for the spring of this year. And that's been being spent. And I basically have been approving the small amounts that have gone out. A lot of it has been out-of-pocket costs by people who give me a receipt, and then I go to the accounting department and they pay it. It has not, up to now, gone through votes. Normally, when we spend money, it goes through a vote by the Historical District Commission. But this has been because it's earmarked to the Revolution 250 outside of the Historical District Commission. I've just been, approving the receipts and having the checks been sent. For the $15,000 and also the CPC, again, that was earmarked to the CPC funds are going to the monument, and the 15,000 is going for basically events that we plan for the following year. So what I would like is a sense of the commission that I can continue doing what I've been doing. And, basically any expense that anytime we spend money, it's voted on by the Revolution 250 committee. But I don't believe I should have to go for each expense. And we're talking about, sometimes out-of-pocket expense to go before the Historical District Commission for approval.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It would be kind of unwieldy, but I want to make sure I'm on proper ground.
Well, you might want to check with town council or town manager about the legality of that, because we are a committee, and if we have fiscal responsibilities, we may have to take a vote. It may be impractical and inconvenient, but I'm not sure what the legalities are. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
You play one on TV?
You don't want to play one on TV? Thanks, Leslie.
It is going to be unwieldy, because sometimes someone spends money, they come to me with a receipt. We have the money dedicated for that. It's already been assigned. It's not like our annual budget of $1,000 where we vote as a committee,
Right.
a commission to spend something. This is because it's basically an operating budget. This is not an operating budget. It's money that was earmarked for a certain activity.
Do we have any of our money left? Or do we?
Yes, and that was another thing I was going to bring up. We have, as a commission, we have $700, I think, left. In 1 second.
Can we vote to have that utilized for those expenses? Or, maybe in chunks of hundreds of dollars?
Or what?
It's
Expense?
use it or lose it by the end of the fiscal year, though, right?
Right. What's going to happen is we have till June 30th if we have anything that we need to purchase. I don't know if we have any ideas, but we could do that. On July 1st, we're going to get another $1,000. Keep in mind, our budget for many years has been $500. I requested 2 or 3 years ago to increase it to 1,000, and one of the reasons was to cover unexpected expenses from the Revolution 250 Commission, which had just been formed at the end
Right.
of 2023. We're not going to need that now because we have enough operating cash. So we basically now as a committee, and in fact, our commission was always the lowest funded. I mean, most of the commissions are $1,000. So we're
Right.
up where everyone else is. So yes, if we want to discuss that,
But you're saying you get another 1,000 on July 1st, but it's use it or lose it for every fiscal year.
it goes back to the town. So
Right.
yes, we
lose it, so.
we would lose it in essence. So if anyone has any ideas, I don't at this moment. I don't want to just, spend it, but if we have, ideas about books or
So when I was at the Northborough Middle School, I went to the library. I guess this was probably the beginning of the school year. And they had a lot of Northborough history books, but they also had a lot of white space on their walls. And they were talking about how it would be nice to have some artwork. So I'm thinking, what about like the map behind you, Bob? Or like, I know there's a couple of like historic maps. If we could get a big one for the middle school perhaps, and donate it to them just to have.
like, you could get a frame map like that,
Yeah.
historic Northborough.
Yeah,
Yep,
something like
they're
that.
online. They're available online.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where I
and I
got
mean,
mine.
I've seen them pretty big, so
That's a nice idea.
And where would that be, Amanda? In the art?
in the library for the Milliken for the middle school.
They could have little pinpoints that say, you live here.
Yeah.
In 1887.
Exactly. Probably walk to school.
The
Uphill
high
both
school is
ways.
next to the Unitarian Church.
Hmm.
I like that idea.
Okay, well,
Would that be appropriate for any of the other schools, do you think, Amanda? You mentioned the middle school, but we've got four
I mean,
elementary
it
and a
certainly
high
could be.
school.
I could reach out to them um, and see if any other schools would be interested.
Yeah, I think if we've got $700, that would go. I mean,
Yeah, it could go
frames are
pretty far.
expensive. Yeah, frames are
It'd
kind
be
of
good for
expensive.
history, right? I mean, for the high school history department and even like the fifth grades in each of the schools where they start talking about, a lot more about history.
Hmm.
all right, I'm trying to remember the name of the company. I have to look it up. I don't have I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it's like on the order of 100, 150.
Mm.
Oh, was that? It was that expensive? Okay.
Well, framed.
Oh, right, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Amanda, I think if everybody else agrees, that would be a good idea just to reach out to all the schools and see.
Yeah, certainly.
Do we want to,
I got mine from Ted's Vintage Art.
that's it, that's the name.
Mm.
Yep,
Ted's what?
Ted's Vintage
Oh,
Art. You can
that's
get
so
them in
cool.
color too.
yeah, that's what I have. And there's different frames that come
Yep.
with it. You could do it online. I could,
If we run out of money, we could even do it to cross
Yeah, across the fiscal year.
the fiscal year, yeah.
well,
We have enough to do. If all 6 schools wanted it, we only have enough to do 4 schools, we could do the other 2 next fiscal year or something. We're at the end of the school year anyway.
Yeah.
okay, one of the issues is that the way I've been handling it with the accounting department is they have to issue a purchase order and then the product comes in, then you have to approve it. And then they get paid. And Ted's Vintage Art may not work that way.
Hmm.
So it
Mhm.
might be something that we would have to expense personally and then get a check from the town, if we don't mind
Because we
doing
bought a
that.
bunch of books a few years ago. Remember when Norm got the Northborough history books? We just bought.
Yeah, do you remember how did you pay for it out of pocket?
I don't remember. I don't remember it being a deal, like a big issue.
I think it was something we voted on, basically to say
Yeah.
we agreed to use this money for this purpose. So I think it was already voted on and designated specifically to buy the books.
But Bob, you're talking about in terms of getting reimbursed by the town?
Yeah, it's not a problem. If you pay for it up front, and then when the product, they will not pay you until the product comes in and is inspected.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can run
Yeah.
it.
So, but it's on your credit card.
Right.
Right,
So
right.
you have to be willing to do that. And then
Frequent flyer miles. Come on, baby.
Right? Exactly.
so I mean, I don't mind doing that. Like, for example, we do it for most of the things, but when I bought the clothing under the
Mhm.
ARPA grant, I didn't want to, it was, over like
More.
$4,000 or so.
Yeah. More.
So I had a big fight with the company because they didn't want to do it that way. They wanted to be paid up front. I explained to them we were a town. I finally got them to issue a purchase order. And then when the goods came in, we inspected and we paid them.
Yeah.
But for, for a few $100s, I wouldn't mind putting it on my credit card and you just get paid later. But we would
Wow,
have to
this is
vote.
save, you buy any 2 maps, get 1 free. This is cool. And you can pick your frame. So they frame it for you. They do everything.
How much is each
How-
frame?
Unframed, it's showing as $52.99.
We might be able to do that cheaper ourselves.
The
Buy
framing.
frames. Yeah, and
How,
I can do
how
framing
big are
and
they?
matting. Well, they have different sizes.
Yeah,
Mine-
18 by 12 framed is 135. We're talking about a big wall. 36 by 24 is 229.
Yeah, I have an
Um,
18 by 24 map.
And do you think, Amanda, do you think that would be something that would prospectively fit in what you have in mind? Because you don't want to spend money if it's really just not even going to be noticed.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I'd probably reach back out to them because also when I went, I don't think they had a librarian at the time, but I believe they do now.
Mm.
So I probably want to talk to her and make her or him and make sure that they, still think that that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically buy 2, you get 1 free. So I put 6 in the cart and they only charge for 4. And
And that's
4 would
framed?
be 4 24 by 18 framed is $679.96. That's awfully close to
That's what
$700, isn't it?
Very close.
Pardon me?
Very close.
Yeah. Is that a good size? You think that would be a good size though? Ted?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not Ted. Tom?
Yeah, that's good size. 1824. Yeah.
I don't know what size that is. Can you see?
Now come in the sepia color as well as they have them in colorized. The one in the town hall in Northborough, in the town clerk's office is in color. And I think there are 2 versions as well, from different bird's eye view vantage points.
I only saw one for Northborough. Did you see others?
Norm has another version.
Oh,
Yeah, there's another one that's just a street map.
On Ted's, when I search by Northborough, I just come up with a 1, but
Well, it's worth pursuing.
yeah.
Yeah.
we have
Nice
time,
idea.
but again, so we're looking at getting several up to around $600 or so, 700.
Yeah, it looks like you can get, with tax, be a little more with tax. But that's only if all the schools want it. It would be up to 6, right? 6 schools, maybe they wouldn't all want it. So,
Yeah.
but you do, yeah, you go buy 2, you get 1
And-
free. So,
Well, we could put one in the new fire station.
true.
Well, why don't we get some and store it and decide where we're going to put it? We have $790 left.
Oh, $790. That probably would
$790.
cover tax
wow.
and shipping then. So, Tom, to your point about doing the framing ourselves, framing's expensive, especially if you get a bigger.
No, I mean buying the frames and assembling them ourselves rather than going to Art Emporium and spending, $600 for a $20 print.
Right, but these actually
Well,
But they-
Ted's does it. We
Yeah.
don't have-
yeah.
Fine.
So it's just,
I agree with Tom.
I think it's simpler just to get it framed. Let them do it. They do a good job.
So are you saying you want me to order them? Is that?
Would you mind?
No, I'd be happy to. We just have to pick, there's a unframed, there's a black frame, espresso, or walnut.
I tend to like black, but
I do
Yeah,
too.
black.
simple black, the one like
do
I
too,
have.
yeah. Yeah, I'd be happy to. We'd have to vote on
This
it.
is. That's what I have. It's a very simple frame. Which you want because you don't really know where it's gonna go, so. And then we can divvy it out once we get them in. So
Do we need to make a
want to
motion?
Make a motion to spend up to $790 for Northborough historic frames to be donated to schools.
Schools are like, Tom said, the fire station, if we don't use them up for the schools, I think the fire station's a great idea too.
Police station, any
Yeah.
municipal
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, just have them. All right, I will order 6. Well, we haven't voted yet, but
Okay. So, Brian Smith. Oh, we need a motion. Do I have a motion to buy historic Northborough maps framed up to and not exceeding $790?
so
So
moved.
moved.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Second,
Okay, Brian Smith,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Tom Reardon.
yes.
Okay, and I vote yes, so it
And,
passes.
and Millie Milton.
and
Oh, I'm
Millie.
sorry, Millie.
Yes,
I
sorry,
don't
I'm
see
not
you.
showing right now.
Okay, and Millie, sorry.
Billy, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shipping is free.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so we get 2 for free. So basically just, it's over $100 a piece, which is pretty decent.
And then Leslie, all you have to do is give me the receipt and I will have them cut you a check.
Okay, sounds great. Great idea, Amanda. Thank you.
Good job.
Okay.
You're welcome. And I'll reach out to the schools and see who wants them. You got, what size are you getting, Leslie?
24 by 18.
24 by 18. Okay.
Okay, just one thing. Just give me a second here.
This is for Clinton, Massachusetts, right? Just kidding.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm kidding. I said for Clinton, right? No, okay. 6 vintage maps, black frame, 24 by 18. Okay. Very good.
1887, right?
Yep. Vintage map. Yep. Northborough, Massachusetts, 1887. All right. Pay now. Okay.
Okay, now one other vote I need to take just because I need to check with town council about the spending on Revolution 240. I would like to have a motion to spend $2,400 from ARPA funds for a horse and buggy for the Lafayette Tour celebration.
You mean Revolution 250, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, what did I say?
240.
Oh, it
It's
was
late.
$2,400 is that's stuck in my-
Okay.
Okay, so it's, yeah, Revolution 250, Northborough Revolution 250. And this will allow us to spend the money before the I think June 15th or so, whatever Father's Day is, Lafayette is supposed to come through Northborough. So we have a potential, I have to have a vote today because we need to spend the money before June.
hmm
And this would come out of ARPA funds, and we certainly have the money. So
I
do I have a motion to spend $2,400 for horse and buggy for the Lafayette Tour.
so moved.
The rental, right?
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't keep the horse.
We don't keep the horses. Yeah, we're gonna keep, the horses have to stay at your house. Okay, Brian Smith,
Yes.
Leslie Harrison,
Yes.
Tom Reardon,
Yes.
Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
and Millie is missing. Millie?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay,
Who-
thank you very much.
Who motioned and seconded that?
I think I motioned it.
Okay. I'll second it if nobody else does.
Okay. All right, moving along. So that's good. So we've spent our money. Fire Station Building Committee. Tom, anything?
Well, a recap, obviously the town signed a contract with HV Collins from Providence, Rhode Island. They're the general contractor. The contract price came in $6 million under budget. And today we had a groundbreaking ceremony, which was filmed by the cable crew. So if you want to watch it, and there was some nice little speeches by Dawn Rand and the fire chief and Steph Bacon
nice.
from town administrator. So they have cleared the site and they've started to move the earth. It's underway.
Tom, you had talked about the stones, us going in and grabbing stones or something. Is that something you still wanted to talk about, or is that not realistic?
Well, they gave us a week
Oh,
to perform that, get a crew together and do it. I think Millie might have grabbed some for her project,
I
but
did.
we didn't grab any for the use of the cemetery because we didn't have a landscape crew at hand.
right. I'm glad you grabbed some, Millie. That's great.
I have 70 cubic yards of stone.
Wow.
All
Oh,
right.
nice.
No
that's
idea
great.
what I'm doing with it, but I have
It's
it.
historic
good.
stones.
Very.
Can we use them to label our plants at the garden?
They're pretty
They're
big.
large.
What are your plans for the stones?
Undetermined as of yet, but I'll find something fun.
Maybe donate one or two to Brigham Street, possibly?
Sure can. I'm pretty sure.
That's
1000%
if-
sure.
If we were to go with that garden, we would need a nice big stone.
right.
I think that would be appropriate. You can go and pick something right now, probably.
Amanda, library, anything that might be of historical significance?
Yeah, no, nothing new to report.
Okay. Okay, new business. I do want to move along. So I don't think we're gonna be able to finish this, but I did want to talk about the street naming memo. So let me just show you where we have. I don't think we're gonna be able to finish this tonight, but just want to show you. Okay, so this was the original grid. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I doing? I have to share my screen here. Okay. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyway, this is the original memo that used the grid map, and personally, I think this might be too detailed. What my preference would be is anyway, but it's basically the zone map. There's 4 precincts. And in most cases, I think we could probably have a memo where it's not location specific, because I think that most of the names would fit in anywhere in town as a new name. So this is what Amanda put this together, just the list, all the names in alphabetical order. And I sent this to everyone. And we have a column where we cross them out. And the code is either it's used already, or an N means it's not appropriate, such as Warpath, I think we said was not an appropriate name. And then the location, the precinct location is here. And then I left it blank for all the other names. And I think that I really don't think this is something that the commission will vote on, but we probably don't need to have a very detailed grid, but in some cases, it might be appropriate to put the precinct down. There's only 4 precincts for where a new street name would go. For example, Monmouth would be in the precinct on the west side of town.
Do we know why some of these names are historic, other than maybe people's names? But, you know,
No,
I see.
we don't, and I think we're relying on the past commission that
Yeah,
came up with these names. So we have an
Steakhouse.
opportunity to delete the names that we just don't think. But some of them look obviously, I think there's reasons why they were in the memo. There was also a few names crossed out of the memo,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure why, because they haven't been used yet. For example, Beeman. So Beeman was crossed out in the old copy of the memo. We don't have the original memo.
Mm.
And I put a question mark here as to it wasn't used. So why was it crossed out? And it was crossed out in the memo. So
Yeah.
I think it is. Wait, hang on a second. I have the maps up.
see, I also have this. This is I don't know if you've seen this, but this is the street precinct listing.
There's a Beeman Road.
There is.
Yeah, I've got a list of all the Northborough
Okay, well, you
roads.
see, that's my problem. I took this off the website
Yeah.
and it doesn't list Beeman. Do you have a different site for names?
Yeah, I mean, I could here. Let me show you. You want me to show my screen quickly?
Yeah, let me stop sharing. Hang on a second.
I can steal it from you. I think I can take control. All right, so you guys see the screen? See this?
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's Beeman. What I've
Oh.
been doing though is I'll sometimes go to Google Maps and check, and there's Beeman Road, Northborough.
Okay, I've done that too. And so for
Hmm.
some reason, this precinct map isn't correct. So I've been using the wrong thing.
But
Okay.
this is pretty good. This list of geographic.org. And I'd found another one too. I forget which one, but this one's pretty good.
That's just the website
Yeah.
and it's just Northborough names.
Yeah, this is so / Massachusetts, Worcester, Northborough.
Interesting.
But that list is just
When was that last updated? Does it say?
I don't know.
Just curious.
I use it as just as a basis to check quickly.
Yeah.
But then if you go to Google Maps, you can search also.
Could you send me that website when you get a chance?
Yep. Yeah, there's another one too. I had sent to the commission at one point. I did send, I'll do it in a little bit, but let me make this up. Yeah. So I will. So I'd gone through your list, Bob, just I can kind of show you what I had because I looked at all your unknowns. You want me to show?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I see Balcom Drive there, so that was already used.
So this one, Balcom, yeah, you didn't put a question. So that one, if I put it green, that means yes, you put a question mark. I checked your question marks. So
Okay,
green
good.
is, yeah, it's right. It's unknown,
Okay.
unused. This one, I just thought we should pick one. Like we're not going to say Bummett or Bummett Brook, or even say put it as one choice. Like, would you like Bummett or Bummett Brook? But I wouldn't put things that are duplicative like that
Mm-hmm.
twice. So that was just my comments on those. Con, I have no idea. But I assume that was short for Connecticut, and even Connecticut seems like a weird. But anyway, I propose getting rid of Con. Same thing, Crane and Crane Swamp. Just pick one or
Mhm.
same comment. These, why did I not? I guess these were green. These
Esquire
were green
William.
too.
Esquire Williams is one that I couldn't find.
You're right, but there's William. You're right. It's only Williamsburg Circle.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yes, that's the nice thing about this too is you can search. So here, You can do a search, because if it's the second,
Yeah.
you don't, yeah, this is alphabetical, but if it's the second part of a word of a street name, you can, like Meadow, you wouldn't find Meadow under M, but you could find Indian Meadow. by its
Nothing
first
under
search here.
Esquire.
Esquire. Yeah, there's nothing for Esquire.
Nothing.
And then if it's not on there, sometimes I'll do Esquire, Northborough. Yeah, there's nothing.
Interesting.
And then
Did you send us that list that, because didn't we go over this last time with the highlights and everything that you had done?
we
Yes,
did,
we
but,
did,
but
and
Bob
then-
incorporated that. Yeah, this is all incorporated.
Yeah. Well, what we did, Amanda put this into a alphabetical list without the zones, without the grids. And so so this list is a lot easier. And then I went through this, I crossed out the names that were used.
Your question marks I checked. So the U question mark, these are not used for Bush and Clover.
Yeah,
Love
they're
them.
not used.
No.
So the reason, I'm not sure why I don't think they were crossed out in the memo either. So I'm not sure why they were crossed out. So we could put them back.
Well, yeah, because some of them did have duplicates. Is that what you're saying? Like Holbrook and Holbrook Lane,
Well,
or
yeah,
the original memo?
but the original memo didn't have. Oh, okay. So off on the right, you see where I wrote Holbrook Lane?
Right, right,
That exists. So because of that, we took out Holbrook.
right. Okay.
Right. And I
the other
I
ones
made a
didn't.
comment that it's already been used.
Right.
So that's
a used
definitely
without-
coming out.
That's
Yeah.
used without a question mark. Yep.
The horse and buggy, you don't know.
Horse and buggy, I don't know why that was.
Yeah,
crossed
no,
out.
it's definitely,
Close to horseback, maybe? Oh,
there's nothing. If you search for horse, there's nothing
interesting.
for horse Northborough.
I'm hesitant about deleting a name if it hasn't been used before, just because we may not like it, because a developer might like it.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't want to, the only names I would cross out would be the ones that are inappropriate
Mm-hmm.
for today's sensitivities.
Is this the same list that, sorry, Leslie, is this the same list that you emailed us? Bob?
Yes, this is the most recent one I emailed to you.
But this
Although
is just
Leslie.
with my notes. Yeah, I
marked
just
it
gone
up
through them
here.
last night. So
Okay, because Sawmill is on here. It's not crossed out. We do have a sawmill in town.
let's see. Sawmill.
Oh, there it
Okay.
is.
So this is my original one, the one that I had done the last time. Let's see if Sawmill. Oh yeah, see, I crossed it out on this one. This is the one I had marked up
Oh,
for the last
okay,
meeting.
okay,
So
that I must have missed that.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll cross out Sawmill.
Good catch, Lorna.
I don't know why it stuck out to me, but
I have to cross out right now, but
Good.
all
Good
right,
catch.
I'll just do that for now. So do you want me to modify this then and take out so everything that says used, just delete them? The ones that say used question mark with a green.
I have a
delete
question
them.
on 1700. Wouldn't it be weird to have a street address of, let's say, 100, 1700? I just think that could be really confusing.
Yeah, I agree. Oh yeah. So we just get rid of it?
I think so. I'm not sure that unless we know the relevance of it, it's like, 50, 1700 way road.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Just like Sever, like someone's name, or just like Sever, like severed somebody's head?
Yeah.
Sever is on the original
Sever is a
memo.
Minuteman, one of the
Oh, was
original
it?
Minutemen.
Oh, good.
Sever,
Okay.
yeah, right. That's true. He is. Yep.
Oh, good. It's not like sever someone's head. Okay, that's
No.
good.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want me to
I'd like
get rid
to-
of these?
Leslie, I'd rather you didn't delete any names, but we will delete them eventually.
Okay. Then
That's
I'll just
what
send
I
this. I'll
wanted-
just send this back to you then.
Send it back to me. I'll make a master
Okay.
Interesting. I like.
and I'll send it around to everyone. So we'll clean up the question marks And then because this way, I want to have a list of the names that we crossed out, then we'll be able to vote on it. And then the final memo, of course, will take them out.
Don't
Right.
we
Okay.
already have a Williams something up there? Weren't we just looking up Williams, Esquire Williams? Did we cross that out? And then we have Williams right there.
There's Williams, right? So we keep Williams and take out Esquire Williams?
I think so.
There's Esquire William, oh. Yeah. So what are you saying? Get rid of Esquire Williams and keep Williams?
I
Oh,
think
Esquire
so.
Williams. Oh, that's the one that's already
We already took that out.
because of
Or Williamsburg.
circle, yeah.
Okay.
So are we going to take out Williams also?
Do we already have the Williamsburg circle?
Yes.
Okay.
So then we should take out Williams.
I think so.
All right, let me just mark that here.
Just a side question which I have. What is the end goal in terms of, or could be an end goal to label what the meaning is of the street, the historical meaning of this? So in the future, if there's so a small sign beyond the street sign, who was this, that the people can make connection to this name of the street?
Well, I'm not sure that we can do that for everything. I mean, there are reasons why some of these names are put on there. I mean, for example, the names that I added, I know why I added them, but I'm not really sure why these names. I just think we have to rely on the previous memo that they knew what they were doing.
It would be interesting to see if there's a way to find some sort of a connection. I mean, obviously we know things like Bunker Hill and
Right.
and-
I mean,
and like
it would
you
take,
said-
I mean, we have Kent and Mulligan's books, and we can go through the index and see.
Right. It'd be kind of
So
interesting.
a lot of these yeah, it's fun to do. A lot of these we could do, but again, it would be a big project to go through every name. So I would probably rely on the memo as a reason why it's there, and then we could, on a case-by-case basis, look up the names.
No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking only just about which is regarding to Northborough. That's all. I mean, just to limit the amount of street names. And I
Right,
don't know
no,
the price tag of it. How much is a aluminium sign? Maybe Scott can enlighten us how much it costs then to link it up, to hang it beyond the actual street name.
Yep. In terms of Knox
Knox
Train,
Knox Train and Knox Trail, we're not going to do both.
We're not going to do both, but I want to have both names there because they're two different things. Knox Trail designates the fact
That'd
that
be one again, another one where we say pick or the other.
Yeah.
one or the other, right? Yeah. So I think that's fine. Yeah, we would not want to have a Knox Train and a Knox Trail, but I
No.
want to give
Right.
someone the chance of picking either.
Right. So we have a few of those for like these similar.
What's
Same thing. Pick one.
what is the interest in Hildreth? I'm just curious on that.
Hildreth is the guy that wrote Forever Blowing Bubbles.
Oh, okay. All right. I
So-
thought you mentioned that before. I was like, wait,
Yeah, well, it's
that who that is? That's hysterical.
one of my favorite songs, and when I was growing up in New Jersey. So when I found out he lived in Northborough, I was very, very excited.
Okay, so I'll change those to one or the other.
All right.
Just
Well,
gotta
it sounds
think
like we
I'm
have
not gonna-
we have a lot more work. So what I'd like to do is, Leslie, if you send me this, I will create a master, and I'll send it around to everyone, and then we can. And then also, if anyone else comes up with any new names, I'll add them to the bottom, and then we'll keep this as a working copy to show what names we deleted. Then we'll create a new list of the names we're going to keep alphabetically, and then I'll write a memo, and then we'll vote on the memo and the list of names.
Do you
So-
think something like Cotton Factory and Cotton Mill should also be one or the other?
Oh, we're Oh,
I
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Yeah, one or the other, right?
yep. Yep, good catch. Okay, I will.
Okay.
highlight
And then
that.
the other thing is, I went through and I listed a couple of the precincts that I thought the name should be in. So when you go through the names, besides deciding whether to keep it or not, also decide whether it's a location-specific name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most cases, I don't think so. It's like, for example, okay, Knox Train, I put in 2 or 3. And that was only because the Knox Trail went through precinct 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Musterfield. The Musterfield is in precinct 2.
I think that makes sense.
So wherever it makes sense, but other things, I don't know, Fidrick would
Yeah.
be where he lived, I guess. I can't remember which zone he lived in.
He lived on West Street
One.
near
I thought-
Crofton.
Yeah, but
Is that
where
one?
did he grow up? He grew up somewhere else, I think.
He grew
Oh,
up
did he?
in Zone 1,
He gets
Okay,
one.
but
So
then his
then we-
farm is
so then we would have 1 for Fidrick.
Fidrich.
One
Yep.
or-
Okay.
one or
Fidrich.
2.
I don't know where I am here, but okay, I'll put that. Okay, and then Pincus we had mentioned. So these were not on your list. I added them.
Oh, okay. I thought I had Fidrich. That's
No,
not
I
me?
added. That's why they're yellowed. I added Fidrich and Pincus back on.
Oh, okay. And who's Pincus?
That's the
Birth control.
doctor that was the inventor of the leading scientist on the birth control pill. 30
Oh,
Main
that
Street.
lived in Millie's in the house, the Say Livy house.
Had 19 kids. Just kidding.
Hmm.
Oop, that one didn't work. Research.
If at first you don't succeed.
So what
So
what
then-
would that make sense to put that in a precinct 2?
That
Millie, to
would
have
be,
for the houses?
that would make sense for precinct 2, yes.
Is that 2? Is that where Say Livy is?
I think so,
It
yes.
is.
You think there's gonna be any new streets in precinct 2?
I don't know, but there could be something like a cocktail bar called the, I don't know, Pincus Parlor or something.
That's a
Keep
good
in
point,
mind
though,
that what we're gonna say is that these are recommended locations, but we're not, and just like the list is a recommended list, because someone, by the bylaw, someone could pick a different name as long as there's a historical or cultural significance to the
Yeah.
name. So we're just saying this is a suggested list and suggested location. If someone came and they wanted to put Pincus in a different location, I think the commission would approve that. Okay, so I will, let's see, Leslie, if you send this to me, I'll send out a new version. Again, everyone think of possible new names. Hopefully by next week, we'll have the list completed. And I'll draft a memo and then we'll try to get it issued as soon as possible. I've been getting, I know Mitch Cohn had asked for it and Lori Connors recently asked for it. She said they were looking at new names and they were looking at the old memo and it was just too difficult to read and understand. So she was suggesting we do a new memo and I said, we're already working on it. We'll get it
Oh,
in.
good. That's great.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, next on the agenda was the town meeting results. I think we covered most everything. Any comments on White Cliffs and where we stand with that? I know there's 2 bids for for someone to purchase White Cliffs and there are proposals in there that are being evaluated. My understanding is both would require preservation, so that's good news.
They did approve sending out an RFP to get an architectural firm to design the demolition drawings to remove the additions from the 60s. So that was approved.
Okay, but also I'm trying to remember the CPC proposal for the demolition design work. That didn't pass, did it? Or did it?
This wasn't a CPC proposal. This was an approved to come out of town funds.
Okay. But Leslie, remember the CPC proposal?
Yeah, CPA
Mm.
funding, that passed, I think.
It did pass, okay.
I think, and I think it is the same thing you're talking about, Tom.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, one of the CPA proposals was,
$93,000 to,
That's it,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
$93,000.
okay.
yeah, that was
Okay,
CPA funding.
So that passed, but the TIF did not pass.
Did not.
But the
Right, the TIF was, that was unrelated. That was for Saint-Gobain.
No, there was a TIF also. No, the TIF that was withdrawn, I think, for White Cliffs.
Oh, okay.
And I think the reason was they just didn't know what they were voting on.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
So I think if they were to pick, if they were to pick one of the two bids, there probably is going to be a TIF request. I'm guessing, and then that would have to go to town meeting for approval. Okay.
On
Yeah, I think
either of
that's why
it?
they're talking about maybe doing a fall town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Millie, for the update to the master plan.
Yeah.
is-
So what I'm gonna do is basically begin to update that we are working towards the goal of a certified local government. Once I submit some of the very reluctant resumes and accomplishments that our committee has done. But at the same time, what I want to begin to introduce or initiate is some of the other aspects of becoming a certified local government, which is what does a preservation law look like? We have an acceptable local preservation law. What does that look like? What does that actually mean? What we're working on in our submission is qualified historical preservation review commission. That's the content and the compilation of our committee. And we actually have some pretty solid advocates to submit. So I'm optimistic, but I think we still need to shore up some of our committee membership resume. We have a system for the survey and inventory of historic properties. We may or may not meet that, but again, I want to start to really solidify some of these other aspects while we submit our qualifications. The fourth one being, we have adequate public participation. What does that really mean? What does that look like? So I'm actually in touch with the person who's now taking the place of Jen Doherty temporarily is Michael Steinitz. And, I just want to give him some of this information and find out from him what they're looking for and what we need to do to begin to sort of cultivate that type of board or commission. Section E is adequately performs its duties. We won't know that until we actually begin to measure some of our results.
Millie,
So-
just 1 second. You're talking about the certified local government, right?
Mhm. Yeah, sorry.
And so I was on a different subject,
Oh,
but that's okay. We can. The other one was that I had the update to the master plan, which I
Oh,
think we
I
may have
went
covered.
right on past that.
That's okay. So we can skip that.
I kept
Okay,
going. Well,
so-
so the update to the master plan on that is that I will basically put in that we are ongoing for the certified local government. We've initiated and we're ongoing. And then
Okay,
I
great.
kind of rambled right into where we're at.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just wanted for Brian Swanson's sake and trying to write the minutes.
Sorry, Brian.
Millie, you said his name was Michael Steinitz?
Steinitz. Yeah.
Did
Can you
he,
spell that?
he took over for Jen?
He's
Doherty?
temporarily taking over the position because it's not yet filled.
Okay,
But he said, feel free to approach me with any more questions, any more comments. He's waiting for us to send in some of our, I would say, our submissions. And I'm 95% done. I think everybody pretty much has, I want to kind of go back and forth with a few people with what I've put together. And as long as they're approving of it, I don't think I have to put it through the whole board. As long as each person has approved what I'm going to put through to Michael, which that's what I've been asking for.
I think that's fine, right?
Yeah.
If you send copy everyone on the submittal,
Yeah.
give everyone a chance to make a comment.
Yep.
Is everyone okay with that? We don't need to vote on the submittal, right?
No.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Amanda, there's anything on the businesses and historic buildings?
Still just plugging along at it.
Okay, no,
Nothing
that's
new.
good. Okay. Church Street, the Norm Corbin and I were contacted by 302 Church Street. That's the estate. And it looks like the sale, or not the sale, but it looks like it's going to be put on the market imminently. And the owner did express interest in preservation. The problem is, at this point, there's a preservation restriction, which would require approval by the Massachusetts Historical Commission and then town meeting approval. It's just, there's no way it can be done in the timing that they're talking about. The other is the possibility of setting up a historic district, single structure historic district. Again, that would require a historic district study committee, a report that is approved by the Massachusetts Historical Commission and approval by the town meeting. And we did check with Norman actually checked with the Massachusetts Historical Commission. There's no way to cut corners on that. So we had to tell the
That's the
owner.
Maney property?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought so.
And I mean, I think her desire is maybe sell the land and the house separately, but nothing has been determined yet. So it's something we want to keep an eye on. The good news is, as I discussed with her, she would give preference to someone who wanted to preserve the house. But of course, it would come down to an economic issue. So
Yeah, I
we
mean,
can
there are
only-
multiple siblings, so it's,
Yeah, and I ran this by Lori Connors and others in the planning department that had some interest in this open space committee. And there's really not much we can do except hope at this point. But
Which property is this again? Is it 224 Church Street?
302.
302.
I think it's the oldest house in town.
It's beautiful.
yeah, it really is.
It looks in good shape. So hopefully,
It's an amazing shape, and it actually has a underground railroad passageways through it.
oh really? Oh,
Yeah,
I think they did a highlight on that not too long ago. I think I remember seeing I don't know, some sort of presentation on it, whether it was Historic Society or something. It looked like in really good shape.
So
yeah.
it was one of the witness
When Norm and I
houses.
met with
Yeah.
Jane Maney a few years
Yeah.
ago. She took us through the whole place.
Yeah.
It's really pretty remarkable.
so I mean, we can hope at this time. I just don't have any other ideas about. I mean, setting up a preservation plan. The other issue is that it's expensive too to do that, And it's eligible for CPC funds, but I don't believe a private owner. I don't believe a private home would be eligible for CPC or CPA funding. I think there might be exceptions, but I don't know if that's viable. So it would mean the owner would be responsible for the lawyer fees. All right, well, anyway, I'll just move on. I want to make everyone aware of that. Keep your eyes open, and if anyone has any ideas that we haven't thought of to date, let us know. Okay. I'm going to table the Trinity Main Street Historic District for now. I don't know if anyone has thought about taking the lead on that for the study committee, but that's something we probably need to take up shortly, but we're running a bit late. Okay.
I do want to make a quick edit on the next meeting date because I think March 19th has already passed.
A retroactive meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, it was a great meeting on March 19th. I guess we could skip June.
It
right?
was.
But so it would be June, not 19th,
I think it is.
June 18th.
18th?
June 18th.
Okay.
Juneteenth is June 19th.
Juneteenth, yeah.
So that, and I think that's a town holiday. So I think we're okay for the 18th,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. Yeah, June 18th. Yeah, you're right.
Juneteenth is also my birthday, by the way.
Wow.
Oh, happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, I know it's a national holiday now. I'm really
Nice.
Well,
I'm
because we
honored.
knew that.
I'm honored. Okay, is there any other business before the commission? I thank you for your patience on a long meeting.
No,
I
I
have-
think it was really well done. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so-
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Well, second.
And second, okay, Brian Smith,
I agree.
Leslie,
Absolutely.
Brian Swanson,
Yes.
Tom Reardon,
Yes.
Billy Milton,
Yes.
and I vote yes. I think that's everyone. Okay. Well, thank you all very much, and
Yeah.
have a great beginning of
Good
summer.
night.